überhaupt hier?
Ich verbrech das so, dass ich in dem Wald rein bin. Ich trag dir die Rotznase noch so lang, bis es lebt wird. Die Saublöderei. Für uns gibt's kein Zurück. Nie! In alle Ewigkeit!
Sag mir den Namen.
Ich, der Judas, und der Nero, der Kain und der Hitler. Fünfstimme.
Das ist der sechste?
Oh, den haben wir gelogen.
Den habt ihr natürlich.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Chill Thrills. Today I'll be telling you the story of Anneliese Michel. Anna Elizabeth Michel was born on September 21, 1952, in Liebelfing, Bavaria, West Germany, into a Roman Catholic household. Raised alongside three sisters by her parents, Joseph and Anna, she grew up attending Mass twice a week, deeply rooted in her religious beliefs. At the age of 16, she suffered a serious convulsion and received a diagnosis of temporal lobe epilepsy. In 1973, Michel enrolled at the University of Würzburg, where her peers characterized her as reserved and highly devout. In June of 1970, Michel suffered her third seizure during her stay at a psychiatric hospital. Initially prescribed Dilanin for seizures, which proved ineffective, she began experiencing disturbing hallucinations, including seeing devil faces. Her treatment shifted to Alept, a drug akin to chlorpromazine, typically used for various psychoses, including schizophrenia, delusions, and behavioral disturbances. By 1973, Michel's condition deteriorated further. She struggled with depression, reported hallucinations during prayer, and complained of hearing condemning voices predicting damnation and eternal suffering. Despite years of pharmacological treatment, her health did not improve. Michel developed an aversion to Christian symbols and places of worship, such as crucifixes. During a visit to San Damiano, accompanied by a family friend on a Christian pilgrimage, Michel's inability to approach a crucifix and her refusal to drink from a holy spring led her escort to believe she was possibly possessed. Her experiences intensified. She found the ground around religious shrines agonizingly hot and couldn't bear to look directly at Christian symbols or objects. Michel's family and community, convinced of her possession, sought help from multiple priests for an exorcism. However, the priests declined, advising continued medical treatment and explaining that exorcisms required official permission from the bishop. According to Catholic Church protocols, exorcism warrants approval only under strict criteria of possession, infestatio, and demonic control, marked by a deep aversion to religious items and signs of supernatural influence. Michel's condition deteriorated significantly. She displayed aggressive behavior, self-injury, consumed her own urine, and even ingested insects. Despite being prescribed Tegretol, an anti-seizure and mood-stabilizing medication, alongside antipsychotic drugs during religious rituals, her symptoms persisted and intensified. She began growling, reported sightings of demons, and engaged in destructive behavior. Father Ernst Alt, after observing Anneliese Michel, dismissed the idea of her suffering from epilepsy, claiming she didn't exhibit typical seizure symptoms. Instead, he believed she was afflicted by demonic possession and urged the local bishop to approve an exorcism. In a letter pinned to Alt in 1975, Michel expressed her feelings of worthlessness and a desire for improvement, seeking prayers for herself. On another occasion, she expressed a willingness to endure suffering for others but lamented the cruelty of her situation. In September 1975, Bishop Joseph Stangl sanctioned Father Arnold Rins to conduct an exorcism following the Rituale Romanum, mandating absolute secrecy. The initial session on September 24 saw Michel speaking fervently about atoning for the sins of contemporary youth and apostate priests. At her insistence, her parents ceased consulting medical professionals, relying solely on the exorcism rituals. Over a span of about 10 months in 1975 and 1976, a total of 67 exorcism sessions occurred, each lasting up to 4 hours, conducted once or twice weekly. As her ordeal progressed, Michel began refusing food, indicating a decline in her physical state. On July 1, 1976, Michel passed away at her residence. The autopsy findings attributed her cause of death to severe malnutrition and dehydration, stemming from nearly a year of near starvation while undergoing exorcism rituals. At the time of her death, she weighed only 30 kilograms, 66 pounds, had sustained broken knees due to prolonged genuflections, was immobile without aid, and reportedly had contracted pneumonia. Following an inquiry, the state prosecutor asserted that Anneliese Michel's passing might have been preventable up to a week before her demise. In 1976, charges of negligent homicide were brought against Michel's parents, along with priests Ernst Alt and Arnold Renz. The parents received defense from Erich Schmidt-Leichner, a renowned attorney from the Nuremberg trials, while the church provided legal counsel for the priests. The state recommended no imprisonment for any of the accused. Instead, they suggested a fine for the priests, while considering the parents exempt from punishment, citing their significant emotional suffering as a mitigating factor under German penal law, cf. Section 60 StGB. On July 14, 1977, a newspaper article reported that 2 Roman Catholic priests faced charges of negligent homicide in connection with the death of Anneliese Michel, who had undergone exorcism a year earlier. According to the announcement by the Aschaffenburg prosecutor, the trial commenced on March 30, 1978, at the district court and garnered significant public attention. Medical experts testified that Anneliese Michel wasn't possessed, attributing the manifestations of possession to psychological effects stemming from her strict religious upbringing and epilepsy. Allegedly, during the exorcism, Dr. Richard Roth, whom Father Alt consulted for medical guidance, reportedly told Michel, "There is no injection against the devil, Anneliese." Erich Schmidt-Leichner argued that the exorcism was lawful and fell within the bounds of religious freedom safeguarded by the German Constitution. The defense presented recorded tapes from the exorcism sessions, claiming to feature demons arguing to support their assertion of Michel's possession. The priests contended that the demons identified themselves as Lucifer, Cain, Judas Iscariot, Belial, Legion, Hitler, Nero, and others.
Sag mir den Namen.
Das ist der Judas und der Nero, der Cain und der Hitler. Fettstimme.
Das ist der 6.
Oh, den haben wir gelogen.
Den habt ihr natürlich.
They also claimed that Michel was freed from demonic possession shortly before her passing, thanks to the exorcism. Bishop Stengel, who sanctioned the exorcism, stated that he was unaware of Michel's deteriorating health at the time of approval and did not testify in court. In April 1978, the Michels and the 2 priests were found guilty of negligent homicide but received suspended prison sentences. They were also instructed to share the legal proceedings costs. These sentences were considered harsher than what the prosecutor had suggested, proposing only fines for the priests and a guilty verdict without punishment for the parents. The church's endorsement of the ancient exorcism rite sparked widespread public and media attention. Author John M. Duffy suggested that the case was a misinterpretation of mental illness. In a subsequent conference, German bishops retracted the assertion of Michel being possessed. After the trial, the Michels sought permission to exhume Anneliese's remains due to concerns about her hurried burial in a basic coffin. Nearly 2 years after her initial burial, on February 25, 1978, her remains were reinterred in a new oak coffin lined with tin. Official reports noted typical signs of decomposition for a body of that age. Family and priests were discouraged from viewing the remains, with Father Renz claiming he was barred from entering the mortuary. Anneliese's gravesite has become a site of pilgrimage, revered by small Catholic groups who believe she atoned for the sins of wayward priests and troubled youth. The number of authorized exorcisms in Germany declined after this incident, despite Pope Benedict XVI's more liberal stance compared to his predecessor, Pope John Paul II, who, in 1999, restricted exorcisms to extremely rare cases. Anneliese's father, Joseph Michel, passed away in 1999. In a 2006 interview, Anna Michel expressed no regrets about their actions, stating, "I know we did the right thing because I saw the sign of Christ in her hands." However, on June 6, 2013, a fire consumed the house where Anneliese had lived. While local authorities determined it was arson, some locals linked the fire to the exorcism case. If you got scared or found the story interesting in these 10 minutes, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this and share it with your friends and family.